Hey everybody, I'm Philip, and today we are going to continue on with Doom Patrol Season 1, Episode 6. Last time we left off, we finished the two-parter of the Cult of the Unwritten Book, where the teenage boy was basically a book that was being read and all this stuff happened, and I actually had a hypothesis come true, so I'm pretty happy about that. We also have the slow burn character development, which I've said over and over I am enjoying and appreciating very much. I don't know where we go from here, but I expect it to probably be weird. Hammerhead will be a dick, and Cliff will say something that makes me laugh, because Brendan Fraser's ability to swear is fantastic. So yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen with this one. I am warming up to the series. I said at first I wasn't really feeling it and that I was going to give it halfway through the season, which I think is coming up. I think episode 7, 8 is halfway. But I'll give it till 8, just to be fair. If it continues the path it's going down, then I don't see why I would not keep watching. We had that big bomb at the end where Jane, I guess, says, what is Doom Patrol? So they're dropping that already. I wasn't expecting that. But maybe it's not what I think. And the only way to find out is to watch it. So without further ado, let's get into it. I like her coat. Oh, it's the Rita backstory episode.
What you need is a miracle. Because the name Rita Farr hasn't put a butt in the seat in a dog's age. Concrete shines brighter than your star.
Ooh.
Sweet. That a girl.
The bastard had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. Just say he had a heart attack during sex.
You were never here. Get it? Go.
Aww. Ramble. Facehole. I love Facehole.
I could use some help. I mean, I'm just the way baby doll like.
Oh, here we go.
Fine, I'll do it. But just this fucking once. You hear me, Jane? Jane! Fuck!
And for another, they don't like pancakes.
Who doesn't like pancakes?
How come you're helping her with her thing, but not mine?
Feel free to take it personally.
Nice.
Here we go.
Smiley. Look more like a creepy sex cult than Superman.
What happened to them?
Doesn't say.
Why are you looking at pictures of the Doom Patrol?
Ooh.
You've heard of them?
Trust the degenerate who kidnapped Niles and shoved an entire town up a donkey's ass.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're my in and you're my backup. So shut your assholes because we're doing this.
Oh shit.
A fucked up Rushmore?
Ooh.
You guys want to see what your teachers look like on the inside?
Jane. Where is Niles? He's bad news, Pops. He should be on the JLA watch list or something.
Well, the JLA doesn't tend to overlook the credible threats. If he mattered, they'd know him.
Jeez.
Now, suffice it to say that when you mix in with weirdos and pseudoscientists, you reap the consequences.
Shut
Enough about all that.
up.
Also
Oh,
known
no.
as Animal Vegetable Mineral Man.
Yes.
He was attacked by his secondary dinosaur head during a robbery gone wrong. Let's take a look.
What a tit.
Larson was charged with armed robbery, his dinosaur, with aiding and biting.
What? Is one of your fucking fingers inside me?
You really gotta phrase it that way, huh?
Get it the fuck out!
I think I have a blowtorch and some chewing tobacco in the car. Fix you right up.
Can he just not be condescending
supposed to
for
mean?
one scene?
This was their headquarters. It was Niles' idea to turn it into a school for metahumans. Mento, Rhea, and Arani, they all agreed to stay on.
I believe your issue is as much psychological as it is physiological.
And this
Just like Larry.
Mento, which I pray dies a slow, mournful death.
I don't know why Mr. Nobody sent you here.
Hmm.
I'm sorry to hear about Niles.
Yeah, sure. I'll go. Just as soon as you tell me everything you know about Mr. Nobody.
She's like Tenet's doctor of this universe.
Our extracurricular classrooms.
People always give in to her and do what she says.
You and Josh are married.
Goodness, no. I'm married to Niles.
You can't imagine the hijinks that these meta kids can get up to.
Good for them. You're only young once.
Yeah.
Given the way things ended between us.
Maybe I just forgotten what a head turner you are.
I was.
The person who is breathing is me.
What kind of stuff would you have done? Would I be more like Astro Boy over there?
You would have been better.
He put his ass on the line to save Chief. Maybe you should give him a little credit instead of knocking him down all the time.
What the hell do you know about being a parent? Do you really have any idea what it's like to almost lose a child?
Yeah, I got some idea, you arrogant fuck knuckle.
Yes.
And I got regrets. What are you gonna have?
Thank you, finally. I wanted somebody to put him in his place. Yay.
We were married for almost a year before he told me I had a daughter.
A daughter.
The balloon was shaped like a giant buttocks. Instead of a basket attached to it, there was a jukebox. The jukebox was equipped with a transform array that changed all the police officers into piñatas.
The crazed crowds tore them to pieces, and then they ate the candy from the piñatas.
Oh no. He's gonna change it back, isn't he?
No. No, 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 no. No, no, no.
You stay here, okay?
Wait, what about the students?
There aren't any. There never were.
But you and I both know where your talents truly lie.
I can't.
Please don't keep me waiting.
Okay. This is gonna be okay. We just happened to be in The Shining, which is fine.
Yep.
Shelley Duvall and the kid got out, and so were we.
I was thinking the same thing.
Captain Trainer, are you and your partner ready to continue our mission?
Where's that bastard? So they really did fight him.
Yeah, but they lost. Big time. It was Niles' idea to modify his helmet to try to keep them calm with an immersive group delusion. Mento had him made a peep, 50 years, using your biggest fears against you, like Mr. Nobody did to him and to the others.
You've been telling me you're ready to be your own man. I think it's time I start listening.
Can't help but feel there's some kind of...
Wait.
Aww. Didn't hug him back.
Mary Beth? That poor girl.
Oh. He went into her private thoughts.
Rita Farr is empty and ugly and small. Without her, I don't know who I am. I don't want to end up like you. Or Ronnie or Rhea.
Does he come see them? For real?
Niles, not very.
So he just abandoned them? Like broken toys? Why would he send me here?
So I think that's what Mr. Nobody really wants, is for you to give up. See what happens to those who cross him.
What the hell is she doing with Bump? Bump! Bump! God!
Well. I do kind of like it that the overall mission is to find Niles, but we keep going on these like side paths to it. You know, we're not like in a lot of stories, if the objective is, you know, group A has to save, you know, Niles B like A to B. You'll go straight from A to B. Like the whole entire narrative and arc is to go from one to the other, go from A to B. I like that we're taking the long road to get there, and still world building at the same time. In the last one, Mr. Nobody puts it into Jane's head to go find the Doom Patrol, which is what I thought they were going to be. But it turns out that the Doom Patrol were a superhero team, a trio, from the mid to late 50s that fought Mr. Nobody and lost in epic fashion. It feels like Mr. Nobody is so powerful. Well, it's not so much it feels like it is, but like he's just so powerful that whenever he does anything, he has to be like kind of a smart ass about it. Like, he could have approached that situation, the incident in the park, in any way he wanted to draw out Doom Patrol and all that, but he chose to send a hot air balloon shaped like a butt and had a jukebox attached to it that was playing Hot Diggity, and it drove people insane. Then the cops show up, turns all the cops into piñatas, and the people start attacking the cops, breaking them open, eating the candy. I love the symbolism of that. I love that it shows just how whimsically fucked up Mr. Nobody is, how he revels in his powers and how he uses them in the most like... It's a different form of cruelty. Because you know that like when kid was eating the candy and it looked like blood was like on his mouth. Yeah, I thought that was really clever. But the fact that it had to be like a giant hot air balloon that was shaped like a butt, like he not only revels in it, he just goes to this place of like immaturity with it. He does it because he can, but not only because he can, but because it's amusing him to fuck with everyone and do that. He could easily have just made them like, you know, crazy, murderous, you know, people, something like Pulse, you know, or The Cell, where, you know, you hear a noise and then it drives you crazy. But instead he decided to just tweak it to make it childlike and sinister at the same time. I think is really, really cool. At first I thought that Flick could not only teleport but could travel in time. Maybe she still can. One would think if she couldn't, then Jane would have been like, oh, why are we in the 50s all of a sudden? No, then it turns out they're not. They're in like present day, the real reality. I thought all that was well done. How everything was like a simulation. Yeah, like, you know, like a glitch in the Matrix kind of thing. The idea that Mento is behind it, which seems good in theory. But again, if he has episodes like he did, then it is bad for everyone involved. Josh said at the end that Mr. Nobody sent you here to show you what happened to Doom Patrol, what happened to the people that went against him. You know, he got inside their heads, made them turn on each other. He ruined them effortlessly. And it brings up what I said, you know, a few episodes back where, okay, if they're going to win, how? How are they going to win? You know, Mr. Nobody's power is ridiculous. You know, they beat the lady who could throw fire and ice. They beat a guy with a helmet, wears the helmet to magnify his psychic powers. Mr. Nobody dispatched him with ease. So the only thing I can see is that Jane has so many personalities and so many powers, the majority of which we haven't even seen yet. So is he just gonna have to like run through them like, you know, one by one until eventually, you know, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it because, you know, we think somebody that was like a Professor X type character who could manipulate things and get people's heads. But Mr. Nobody was stronger than that. So it definitely makes me go back and reevaluate what I said before about how they're going to beat him. But when Josh said that Mr. Nobody sent them there to show them what he could do and what happens to those that cross him, I kind of also thought that maybe he sent them there to show them, especially Jane, what kind of person Niles is. It makes me think of when Kip said to, I think it was Victor, and he said, it sounds like we know two different Niles Caulers. And I've been kind of thinking that for a long time, that he seems like this paternal, nice, you know, protector. But he also seems very, I don't want to say malicious, but things aren't what they seem. And, you know, now the seed's been planted in Jane's head that Niles doesn't come see these people who, like she said, tossed away like old toys. Now he has new toys to play with. What happens when these new toys turn into old toys? Well, they find new toys. To me, that was a more powerful message that Mr. Nobody sent, whether he meant to or not, was how noble is Niles really? And I've questioned that myself. And let me just say again, that Timothy Dalton is a fantastic actor and was cast perfectly. I like him a lot. Like, he can go from benevolent to malevolent really well, and I like that. So overall, this was an eye-opener in a lot of ways. So we get a deeper dive into the past, into Niles, into what Doom Patrol is. You know, I thought, as I said, they were going to be what this group is, but they already exist, or had existed. And a lot of character development with Rita in this one. This is a lot of her backstory. This was a Rita-centric episode this time, which was fine. We have this mystery of that woman, the blonde woman. I think it was Mary Sue, I think her name was. So what happened there? Obviously something happened and she committed suicide. On Victor's side, we have, you know, that relationship with his dad. I said during the reactions, I was very happy that Cliff said something to his dad, because holy crap, a couple episodes back that I hoped someone would put him in his place, because oh my God, when he called him arrogant, yes. And even at the end when Victor hugs him, he didn't hug him back. He was kind of like, what I said before is in fact true, that he doesn't see him as his son anymore. You know, he sees him as Cyborg, as a commodity. You know, he's the thing, the person that, you know, killed his wife and Victor's mom. So maybe he can't make that connection anymore because he's severed it. Maybe it's not severed. Maybe he just doesn't want to, because the wound is too fresh for him, which would make sense. And it would make sense why he treats him like the way he does, because he needs to keep him at bay. He needs to force himself to see Victor as nothing more than Cyborg, and only use the family ties when needed for manipulation and coercion and stuff like that. There wasn't really a lot going on with Larry in this one. There was that line, "Are you and your partner ready to continue your mission?" And the guy had like syringes. So like, we still don't know how he got from, you know, containment room in a hospital or whatever, talking on the intercom to his wife and his lover, to Niles. We don't know how that went yet. Like, we've seen how Rita arrived and was having the discussion with Niles and then Mento. And we've seen how Jane arrives when he was the one driving the hospital van thing. But we don't know how Larry got there yet. So I'm wondering if they were experimenting on him in some way. But this is what I like, as I've said before, a slow burn. Because we're getting these obstacles that the group has to go through individually and as a group at the same time. But at the same time, we're being fed a little more, you know, here and there as we go along. So it's like we're telling stories, but we're also adding on to the overall arc for everyone involved. So it's really nice, intricate storytelling so far. I appreciate how the narrative is structured. And as I said, if they keep building it like this, I will keep staying along for the ride. Like, I'm hoping it's not a slow burn and then it like ignites to the finish line. I don't want that. But now I'm rethinking, I still think they're gonna have to learn how to work as a team. What can they do? When Rita learns to control her powers completely, what can she do? And she's on the way. She's on the way to doing that, looks like. She's letting go of her past, letting go of who Rita Farr was and who Rita Farr, and I can identify with that 110%. Like, I know in past episodes I've kind of maybe went down a rabbit hole personally about stuff in my life, but I know what it's like to have your life change drastically and dramatically and quickly. You know, I know what it's like to have your entire life change in one moment, and it just snowballs after that. I know what it's like to remember who you used to be and who you were at the height of your you-ness, I guess. You know, whatever made you, you know, when you were operating on all cylinders as yourself. And then you have that taken away from you. You have to reevaluate your life and figure out, who are you now? The lesson she learned is a lesson I had to learn, you know, many years back, after the accidents, was that you have to come to terms with that you will not be who you used to be ever again. And try and accept yourself as you are now, who you are now, what you are now. It's hard, you know, to remember when you were better and you were 100% and you were normal and you didn't feel like a shell of who you used to be, and you didn't feel like a hindrance and a burden, being bogged down by something you can't control. All of that Rita is going through, I can 100% empathize with, because, you know, it's like anything, it's a daily struggle. But the hardest thing to accept was accepting who and what you are now, and that there is no 100% ever again. That person that you knew is a memory. The person that you were is a memory. And you can't keep trying to, one day you'll get there. I won't. I've been like this for over 12 years at this point, going on 13. There is no 100% for me. There is no, getting back to who I was on April 1st, 2009, before midnight struck on April 2nd. So again, I'm sorry to go down the rabbit hole like that. I'm sorry to make this like super dramatic and all that stuff. A lot of these, these characters' struggles and, self-identity and coming to terms with things, the difficult things, and losing yourself and all of that, I can completely 100% identify with and immerse myself into what that's like and how strong of a desire it is to want to hang on to it and to like try and let it go and move on and accept reality for what it is. Your life is what it is now, and you have to try and make the most of it, the best of it. It's easy to say don't look back. It's easy to say no regrets, but I do both. I do look back, and I have a mountain of regret, and some days the regret is more than I can handle. I have a lot of, we all do. So I'm not saying I'm some like anomaly here, but I have some very big what ifs in my life. So when Rita's taking the pictures down and kind of just letting go of who she used to be, I get that. But the pride in fighting and being a fighter is there. And I think that's what Rita is starting to realize, that she is a fighter and she's still here. And I think that's what Larry has to realize, is that he is a fighter and he's still here. Now, they have purposes. I don't. So there's a big difference there. So again, apologize for making it super somber and all about me. I'm not trying to be
Philip's notes.
So when Rita is in that casting couch situation, also gross. I feel so bad for actresses that have to go through that. When we found out about that whole like Weinstein situation and how the guy tells Rita that concrete shines brighter than her star. I thought that was a really good line. Like, holy crap. Now, I've talked about most of this stuff, I think, so we'll just hit some of the major points because I went on my little weird personal ranty tangenty thing. We see a scene of Larson, the dinosaur celery guy. I'm glad they're leaning into how fucking stupid it is. They're not taking it seriously. He's robbing convenience stores, though, wearing a mask. Like, no one in the world looks like you, dude. No one. Stop wearing a mask. I get that's the point. But come on. So then Flit takes Rita and Larry back in time. Or so I thought. Where there was a school for metahumans, which again sounds very X-Men. We also have a leader type in a wheelchair. Sounds very X-Men. I said before, I'm still amazed that this came out around the same time as the X-Men. We hear about Ultimax, who apparently was the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil, which Mr. Nobody was a part of. It is odd that Mr. Nobody would not be the leader of something. I'm sure we're going to get backstory on that one day in the future. That'd be awesome. Then we get a really interesting scene going towards the end where really well lit, well shot, framed with Niles in the shadows talking. And then he rolls into the light. And whatever they're talking about, Joshua says, "I told you never again." Because we find out later that Joshua is also a metahuman himself, but never really divulged what his powers were. He just said that he was a physician. So, and then probably the most interesting shot was with Jane and the puzzle pieces. She's in this room. She picks a puzzle piece up off the ground, and then they start pouring down, and then she's running away, and it looked like The Shining with the blood coming out of the elevator. And I'm glad they referenced it later with Larry saying, I'm in The Shining now. Well done. But yeah, there's all these puzzle pieces coming after her, and then a hand popped out, was calling her baby. And yeah, it feels like a lot of gross, creepy people did a lot of gross, creepy things to her. From the way Hammerhead reacted at the church to this to all right. Then we find out what I had assumed was that Mento was making all their worst nightmares come to life. So I had the scene with Larry and the guy with the syringes on his hands. Looked very Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. Part 3, I believe. I thought it was cool that once again the energy being saved them. Left Larry, took the helmet off of Mento. And then we see what's really going on with all the, the original Doom Patrol. The one lady's with the knives, the other one's trapped in a block of ice and fire, and Mento's like in the basement, in the trophy room, controlling it all. Then Josh was asked, "You can fix it, right?" And Rita says, "May I try?" And at first I was like, what are you going to do? But then we find out that, not only were Rita and Mr. Dayton an item, he promised her that he would never invade her private thoughts without her permission. And then you find out he did. He betrayed her. He says, "Don't you dare judge me." I think it's pretty fair to judge you. Like, if you break into someone's private, into their diary, into, something that's private, it's not meant for you. Then you judge them on what you read. You don't, yeah, you can be upset about what you read, but you don't get to be a shitty person because what you did was shitty first. Like, just because somebody has a troubled or, bad past, and I put that in quotations, bad, it's subjective, doesn't mean that your shittiness is absolved. You're not forgiven of, being nosy or being dishonest or being, a liar. So we had that. Then, Rita's little speech, about being empty and ugly and small. Saying that's who Rita Farr is. And I don't want to be that anymore. I 100% can identify with that. All of that. Because there are days where I feel all three, And yeah, that's all for my notes. Everything else are from patrons over on Patreon. Yeah, a lot more backstory. I think it's cool that there was an existing Doom Patrol. I think it's cool that they fought Mr. Nobody and lost. Not cool that they lost, but like what the ramifications of what losing has done. Like for Mr. Nobody, that had to have been like just him swatting at flies, but it completely wrecked them. He just moved on. Like he's just. I do think it's strange that he's just now kidnapping Niles. So how did Niles escape in the 50s, go into hiding for so long, and then get found again when they were trying to fix, the town, Cloverton? But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up because my glandular condition that I have is starting to act up really bad. So I'm going to wrap this one up. As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so I'll simply say thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.